Hi, so this is specifically for people who are interested in moving to Greenville. Everything that you need to know, like if we were going to sit down and have a cup of coffee and chat about what it's going to look like for you to move here, these are the things that I would tell you. Okay, first of all, don't move here if you like freezing cold weather all the time, no sunshine, and if you are still in love with snow, because we don't have that here. We have most days full of sun, gorgeous weather, and you're just always going to have a smile on your face. And yes, we might get a little bit of flurries, more so up closer to the mountains, but generally in Greenville, we will have cold winters where you'll have a cozy fireplace going, but you're not going to have snowstorms. So you're not going to get that here. But let's just keep chatting because I want to talk to you all about what this is going to look like, especially like if you are somebody considering moving here. These are conversations we can continue to have over Zoom, or if you're local, we can get together and we can meet for coffee. I have a 90-day to home buying challenge, and in it, I have mapped out all the things that my family and I did in preparation for our relocation. And this doesn't have to limit you to relocation. If you're local in Greenville and this is something you're considering doing, just moving within the area, this homeowner's guide is for you too. Download it once a week. I'm going to send you really simple and tangible tips in your email that are going to coincide with the guide. And it's going to help make this process so easy, bite-sized chunks, manageable, anybody can do. Before we dive into like the home buying process, I actually want you to consider what you want your life to look like, because Greenville has so much to offer, but you're going to get different things depending on which town you decide to settle in. So if you're somebody who likes the mountains, you want to be outdoors, you want to hike, you want to bike, you want to go the Swamp Rabbit Trail, you want to get to know your community and just be walking each day, then there's very specific parts of town that I would plug you into for that. If you're someone who loves the hustle and bustle of a downtown, you want all the shops and you want to be where all the action is, well then I've got an area of that for you. If you want something that's like in a more affordable price range, with still has great schools and it's still got like the comfy community neighborhood feel, well then I've got an area to plug you in there as well. So we've got a little bit of everything. Also, we've got like middle of the road homes that are perfect for just first time buyers and starting out families, all the way up to like multi-million-dollar neighborhoods, depending on where you want to be. Also, I want to bring some things to light about cost of living, because initially I was under the perspective of it's just going to be so much more affordable getting out of New York, living here. And there are like pros and cons to all of that. There's trade-offs, okay? So when you move here, yes, if you're from someplace like California, New York, your property taxes are going to go so much lower. Like you get so much more bang for your buck here when you're buying. I literally have like, I would say $7,000 or $8,000 plus I'm saving every single year on taxes alone. That's a huge win for my family. But you got to remember, we do have income tax here, which I had back in New York, but there are some states, if you're moving from, you will have income tax coming into South Carolina. Also, like as far as shopping, cost of living, we have a very thriving economy, but you're still going to have like comparative prices, like from where I'm from in upstate New York. The food costs are generally the same, sometimes a little pricier here. You need to be aware that you're going to have taxes on your vehicle. So once a year, South Carolina charges you a tax, and it depreciates every year the older that your vehicle gets, but you might not be used to paying for that. But as a trade-off, you're not going to have to pay for inspections every single year. You're not going to have to do these mandatory car fixes, which can get up into the thousands of dollars. And so that's kind of like something you'll just have to budget in and get used to. But again, each year that you're here and the older your vehicle gets, the less that you're going to be paying for that. Okay, schooling options. I want to talk about this because there's a lot of families who are looking to move to this area, and it's really important to know what you're getting. Now, the public schools here, I would have to say, are so much better than where I am from. However, I don't have my kids personally in the school district. I have homeschooled for my kids' entire lives. And what I can tell you is that it has a very thriving homeschool community. So we have so many different types of co-ops here that you can plug your kids into full day drop-offs every day of the week if you want to. You can plug them into 1 day a week, twice a week drop-offs. You can be more parent-led and interactive. There's so many different options in so many wonderful homeschool communities. It's literally what you want to make it based on your family's needs. Okay, and then let's just talk about what the buying procedure looks like when you're relocating, because this is something that I've personally done a little less than 5 years ago now, and there's different things that you want to factor into it. you have to ask yourself, do I have contingencies? Do I need to sell my house before I can start looking and actually buy and put an offer here? Because if that's the case, then we need to factor in that timeline with what you're doing. We want to time it pretty precisely, not 100% accurate, because different things can happen to shift that, and we can work with that. But you want to look at your contingencies. Now, if you don't have a contingency, that's amazing, because then you have a lot more freedoms and you can kind of get into your house a little bit sooner, and you can have a stronger offer when you don't have contingencies with it. I also want to talk to you about earnest money, because sometimes when someone's buying a house, if you haven't done it in a while or you're a first-time buyer, earnest money can often get confused with down payment, and I want to explain the difference. Earnest money is like a good faith offering that you're giving to the seller to say, hey, I love your house and I'm serious about this. It helps take your offer and set it apart from someone else's who may not have an earnest money deposit. That deposit just says, hey, I'm serious, I want to buy your house, and I'm going to give you this as an assurance. Now, earnest money is not your down payment. Your down payment is something separate. However, if you are to go through with the whole buying process at the time of closing, that money that you put as a good faith offering on the home actually gets applied to your down payment, and it just enhances what you're adding at that moment. Another thing to note about earnest money is that it does become something the sellers can keep if you back out of the sale for unrelated reasons outside of the time of due diligence. And let's say you leave them like right before closing. That seller has the right to petition to keep that earnest money because you've inconvenienced them and kind of screwed them at last minute. And then in regards to due diligence, we need to talk about what that looks like. Due diligence is about a 10 to 14 day period after your offer is accepted. This is when we start setting up the inspections, looking at the house, making sure that there isn't something really drastically wrong with it that would prevent you from buying it. Within that season of due diligence, you are able to back out with no consequences. However, once every contingency is met, everything is done that you've agreed upon, after that time, they would be able to keep that money if you left the table and walked away from the offer. I hope you found these things helpful as far as getting started and envisioning your relocation process. Coming to Greenville is so amazing, and it's something that, as I've experienced myself moving here from upstate New York, I've learned the things not to do and the things to make things easier. And that's what I'm here for as your real estate agent and local guide, is to help guide you through this experience. If you're someone who's considering moving in the next 3 months, 6 months, even year to 2 years out, let's have that conversation. It's never too soon to start planning and thinking ahead.